Now, in this video, we're going to look at what we call if functions. Now, if functions can be put in these cells, can be put as formulas in these cells here, or in any of the cells. So, we're going to use this table as an example. We have some pupils here, they got scores in different subjects. They will go to see an average here, and then we give a comment. Now, I'm going to assume, as any teacher would, that there is a pass mark, and whoever gets the above that pass mark should get a comment, otherwise a different comment. Then this is the function that we're going to use. So this is how we write it. This is the formula. Of course, it starts with an equal sign, but I haven't included an equal sign because the program will assume I'm using this cell to calculate something. So if we're going to just say if, then bracket logical test. Now logical test means the condition to be met. Then you put a comma and then this one. You don't have to put these brackets. I'm just putting these brackets to emphasize this statement. But value if true. So if this condition is met, what should be done? Otherwise, what can be done? So a condition, if it's met, what happens? If it's not met, then what happens? So this is how to do it. Now I'm going to quickly get an average here. So I'm going to say equal to average, then bracket, then I'm going to click here and drag to the end, then close the bracket, press enter. So that is my average. So I'm going to drag all the way down so that even this will have averages. Now I want a comment. I want a comment depending on the final value. So let me first highlight this quickly. Home. Okay, then let me highlight this column like that. Then the comment column like that. Okay, now we want a comment here. Which comment can we give? So these comments are going to be conditioned on the marks that are put here. So we're going to insert an if function. Now you can type this if function directly, or you come here to formulas in case you don't know about it. You come to formulas, then you go to logical. There are so many categories, so you go to logical, then you go to if. We're looking at if. Then this table will come. So what is the logical test? The logical test can be a value greater than, equal to, greater than or equal to, or things like that. So let me say the logical test if this cell, what is this cell? This is the condition now. This is the cell of interest. If this cell F2, if F2 is let's say greater than, that is the greater sign. You can find it on the keyboard. You have to press shift and the button which has a point. Then if F2, let's assume the pass mark is 70. Then what happens? If it's true, then we say passed. Otherwise, if it's not true, let's put failed. Then we're going to say, okay, so our value is above 70, so the comment is passed. Now I'm going to drag all the way down, and then each person will get a comment they deserve. So we have all values above 70 with a comment passed, and then those under 70 with a comment failed. This is the function, this is the formula here. One thing to note here is that the comments in the formula are under quotation marks. These quotation marks let the formula know that these are not part of the formula. They don't define any formula. They are just words. We call them strings to be put in the result, but not a formula themselves. They don't command anything. For example, they are different from symbols like this. This is a greater sign. If I put quotations above the greater sign, it will also mean that it's a string. It is just not part of the formula, but something to put as a result. So when you make sure if you type this formula directly, you don't miss the quotation marks or on the value if in this section here. But of course, you can leave the quotation marks if you are inserting another formula. We shall look at compound if formulas, for if formulas that are complicated, where there is, for example, where there is an if in another if inside another if. We shall also look at that. So this is our formula here, and these are the results. So this is how we quickly do this. In our previous video, we've looked at absolute values, absolute cell references. How about if I wanted to adjust the pass mark? The pass mark here is 70. How about if I wanted to adjust it? Should I come to inside the formula and look for and change everywhere there is a 70? That will be a bit amateur. So I'm going to put here another cell which has a 70. Let me say 70 here, and let me type here the word pass mark. Pass mark. Then I'm going to put this in, let's click away. I'm going to put this in right. So let me also make this bold so that people know that there is a something special about this. Yeah. So now I want to refer to this cell. This is going to work as our pass mark. And I want, maybe if the teacher changes his mind and comes and says, okay, I want to change the pass mark. Maybe the children have failed so much. Maybe the paper was so hard. So I'm going to change the pass mark to, let's say, 60. You don't have to come to the formula and look for everywhere the 70 and then change that. That will be ambiguous. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go back to our absolute value references. So I'm going to type here, if F2 is greater than this cell here. What is the cell? F13. So I'm going to come back here and say F13. If F2 is greater than F13, enter. So that will be the result. Now that will be correct. The problem is if I drag down, these are going to refer to cells below. They're just going to continue downwards. So let me click on, for example, this one. It's saying F15. F15 is this one. So when I go to the last one, it's referring to F22, which is this one. The autofill feature will just continue all the way down. So it's not what I want. I'm going to come back here and put the absolute value. I'm going to say absolute value, that is the $sign, shift and number 4. Then I come even up to the column. After the column label, shift number 4. Then there I have my absolute value, absolute cell reference. So I'm going to tell this program that you have to refer to only this cell. Don't continue downwards. After that, I click enter. So I'm going to come back here and drag down. Now the comments will be the same because this is a 70. How about if I change it to 80? The moment I click away, all these will be adjusted. In fact, they all fail. So let me adjust it to, let's say, 65. The moment I click away, yeah. And if I change it to, let's say, 50, the moment I click away, all of them are passed. So the teacher can just keep on adjusting the values in this cell other than coming to the formula and looking for everywhere there is a 70 or 50 or something like that. So that is how we work with a function. And you can apply this to so many different aspects of business or work. Let me go to this cell sheet 8. We also have something here. We have item. Okay, let me change this to items. Now we assume there's an organization, maybe a ministry or something. Maybe this is government, and they have items to spend money on. We have roads, education, etc. So this is the amount spent. This is the budget, and then we need a comment here, maybe by the auditor general or something. So we're going to condition these comments. Someone spent 12 million, but the budget was 9 million. There has to be a comment, and this comment, we can't go on feeding in a comment up to all the way down. If the 1000 items, that will be tiresome. So we're going to again use the if function. Now you go to formulas, then you come to logical, then you come to if, or you can even type it directly, but most people wouldn't do that. So let me just go to the condition here, the function here. Logical test is if this cell budget, so this I'm going to say if C2 is less than B2. What will be the comment? If it's less than B2, it means that someone overspent. So we'll say overspending. Then otherwise, if it's not true, then we say, okay, actual spending. Actual spending. Or you can say valid spending. Then we're going to say, okay, so this is overspending, of course. Amount spent is greater than budget. So I'm going to drag all the way down to here. So some are overspending, valid spending, overspending, like that. So we just drag all the way down if there were 1,000 items without wasting a lot of time. Then we can also want a difference. What is the difference here? So we are going to, let me change this to excess since we don't have a condition. What is the excess? Now you can calculate the excess in two ways. It depends. If you allow negatives, you're going to do excess. You're going to calculate. You're going to put a condition that looks at everything. But let's go back to our condition and see. Now I want to calculate the excess. Now what is the excess? If the excess, we would want to calculate the excess on condition there was overspending. Otherwise, if there wasn't any overspending, then maybe we can't calculate the excess unless negatives are allowed. In fact, if negatives were allowed here, we don't even need a condition. If let's say this was saying difference, you just get the value here. Say equals, then this minus this, and the difference. Okay, let's say this will be C2 minus B2. Enter. So there will be negative 3. So I'll just negative 3 minutes. So I'll just drag all the way down, and then this will be our values. Just this minus this. Then the total. The total will be I'm just going to say equals sum bracket this all the way down, then close bracket and enter. So this is our difference. So this is the total amount overspent. If it was negative, then we will have a balance. But if it's positive, we have money overspent because this is a difference. But I'm not going to do that. So let me clear this. I'm just going to select all these cells and then I press delete. Now we want a condition. We are going to change this to excess. We want a condition. We want this cell to be calculated if there was overspending here. What are we going to do? I'm going to come back to logical test. In fact, I can even type it directly, but I'm going to assume you are not a pro. So we're going to go back to if, then we have logical test. Now, what is the condition for overspending? The condition is if this has to be greater than this. So I'm going to say either you can use B2 be greater than C2, that would work, or C2 being less than B2. Both conditions are correct. You can say either B2 is greater than C2 or C2 is less than B2. They mean the same thing actually. Then the value, if value is true, we are going to put a formula here. We want to calculate the difference. The difference is B2 minus C2. Otherwise, if there is no overspending, what do? We can put anything. Maybe we can leave the cell empty. We can even leave the cell empty, by the way. Or we can put something, let's say 0. Or let's just leave the cell empty for now and see what happens. Okay, so here we have an excess of 3 million. So I'm going to drag all the way down. Yeah. So false is where the condition is not met. The system has automatically put false. Otherwise, if you want something custom, if you want to put something of your own, you can go back to the formula and change something. What you would do, you would come here. Let me go back here and say, if this, we're looking at this is the condition, do this. Now this time we haven't put an else condition, this one here, we haven't put it, but we can add it. So the system has added it for us and just said false, that the condition is not met, the condition is not valid to work here. But we can add something, let's say comma, and then say, let's put maybe a 0, or we can say, if it's not met, let's instead say C2 minus B2. Enter. So we are going to do drag downwards. Yeah. But this won't make sense. Basing on the heading, it won't make sense. So I'm going to undo that and leave it at this. If anything changes here, the total here will change automatically. So that is also another way of using if function. So here we have two conditions. We have one here, and then we have another one here. A calculation that is dependent on the results here. Thank you. That's it for now.